Here we are just outside of a very large corporate property in the state of Michigan. And what we're looking at here right now is a wall across the street from a residential area. And there's some power lines right there. And here are some trees that this large corporation, a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded corporation, agreed to plant in order to make, relieve the stress and tension provided by a faceless wall. I mean, on the other side of that wall, there's lots of cars and trucks and trains and things. And the trees were intended to reduce the stress of having to look at that thing all day. Many of them are a particular type of pear tree called the Bradford pear. And they got such beautiful flowers, but they smell. Oh my gosh, they stink. And they also don't actually make pears. There's some maple trees mixed in, but not at this particular point. What I'd like to show to you is that there we got those power lines again, and here we have the trees, and they prune them down regularly, a couple of times a year, and they kind of chop them up, and to keep them below the power lines. Now, if we look down here, plenty of room for them to grow along this area, right? If we move them out about, 5, 10, 15, 25 feet, put them out here. Not going to interrupt anything. We'll actually get them out of the drains and allow them to grow naturally along here. And they could even grow taller, and the power lines would be free of interference, and the trees would be free of the power line interference. They've also cut down quite a few of them, and they haven't replaced any. Now, they're not keen on replacing them, reportedly, because they say criminals climb up the trees and then use the tree to jump across to the wall, and they jump down the other side of the wall, then they get in the cars and they drive them away, they steal them. And they steal a lot of them. They steal so many that they're ending up in car lots across the United States. Recently, a car dealership in, I believe it was Arizona, was actually arrested, or at least indicted, for accepting stolen goods because they had bought 10 trucks that had all the papers and everything related to them in order to them. And it turned out that they had been stolen from a location in Michigan. So here we have a half dead tree, a trimmed down tree, the power lines, and the subject wall. And here we have a large area which is denuded. I hope that's the right word. It is denuded of trees. There's no trees all in this section right here. Now there's 3 poles here. There's a power pole, a light pole, which has been there for a while, which carries some sort of a data cable, and then this thing, which is part of a security system which senses people in the area and starts sending out a loud, piercing horn. Wah, wah, wah. And then, seriously, no kidding, the voice of the robot from a movie is played. Says, "You are on private property. The police have been notified." And it repeats that several different times. So that's what's there. That's the modern security item that they have. And here is an example. Now this is a nice neighborhood, okay? A nice urban neighborhood. And that's what the neighbors are doing. The industrial neighbor. Now they used to be a neighbor, but now they're not such a good neighbor. They're not really helping out around in the area. We don't see any volunteerism from them. The grass is cut often, but again, what's the point? And here is another area where the trees have been denuded. And there's the stump of one that was cut down. Now I could take you into the larger metropolitan area around here and show you the result of this sort of behavior over a series of decades. And it all starts out with this kind of behavior. It looked like a nice place. It still is kind of a nice place, but the nice places have plastic bags hanging in the tree. The nice places have automated systems yelling at pedestrians walking by with the voice of RoboCop coming at them, threatening them with police presence. And here we have the ditch that runs along here. And in this case, we're looking at some black, the stuff you put around your trees. Okay, and there's your archetype photograph, right? Plastic. And you'll also see discoloration in the water. We're gonna see a little more of that in just a minute. The ducks come along here. It's very nice family of ducks until maybe they take in too many toxins. But it's nice to see them walking around. Here we have some invasive, I can't remember the Phrygia, I think it's called. It's like papyrus. Used to be nothing but cattails along here. American cattails. And now you see a few of them, but for the most part, this Phrygia is taken over. They come down, they cut the stuff with the lawnmower. And it gets all nasty. And this stuff will grow back. It'll be 6 feet tall. They may or may not come back in August, in which case then it'll be extremely tall, which is fine for the red-winged blackbirds because they like to live in it as long as it's long and thin. But again, the cattails are not around, so the other creatures that normally would show up aren't here. Here's another large area that's been denuded of trees. And we're approaching a point where we have repeatedly seen what appears to be some sort of chemicals leaking out of the ground. But again, no response from the neighbor. In fact, well, there was a response. They said that they have no responsibility. No responsibility. And let's see if I'm seeing any of that stuff today. We had heavy rains yesterday, so sometimes it moves it along. Have to wait for it to reestablish itself. And we're seeing some forming on the surface. And there you go. We were told this was organic by officials that checked on another state's Department of Natural Resources website to see what was going on. But again, these may be natural or formed by microbes. And the question is, what the heck are they eating to make this? And the other questions is why is it occurring here but not 2 feet away? But we're not getting an answer to those questions. So here is a water line right near the place that we suspect that there's some pollution. Across the way there's a fire hydrant, and across the way there is a marker indicating that there is landfill gas line under there, which we were told was plugged with concrete. And if you've ever seen water seeping through concrete, well, there you go. So thanks for listening and have a great day.